So good evening all. I am Navnita Chakraborty, CERED Lecture Series Coordinator. I welcome everyone to today's lecture on the water resources and wastewater management, a topic that's becoming more urgent and relevant to our rapidly changing world. Whether you're a student exploring environmental science, an academic researcher, or you are from an industry seeking smart solutions, this session is designed to inspire and inform. Together, let's discover the practical ideas and the innovative approaches to build a sustainable water future that supports the communities, ecosystems, and the emerging technologies to deal with the current situation. It is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Tirthankar Mallick, the HOD of Environmental Science at Netaji Mahavidyalaya. Dr. Mallick is a respected teacher, researcher, professor, and leader who has spent many years working to protect our environment and improve how we use water. His efforts in the water conservation and community-based water treatment has helped many students and professionals understand how this science can serve for the public good. So today's lecture reflects the deep scientific insights and the urgent environmental challenges of our time. We are lucky to have him here, and it's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chakraborty, madam. Thank you, Apurvo and other member from CERED and Friends of the Environment. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. And I'm also express my deep sense of gratitude to all the participants present here to listen this lecture. Mm, one minute to share this. Is this visible?
Yes, sir, your slides are visible, but your voice is little lower. So,
Okay, okay. Let me check. Good evening, everybody. Mm, You are most welcome. Um, it's my pleasure to be a part of this series today, series of lectures on environment and some important topics on environment. And I'm really grateful to Friends of Environment and CERED for calling me for that such type of lecture series. And today my basic discussion on the water resource and wastewater management. Actually, we have all the resources. There is some critical resources and some the resources. All are called natural resources. Without that resources, we are not our existence will be face some threats without such type of natural resources. And we will do all these things, all our work by using these natural resources. And water is one of the important natural resources, one of the important natural resources. And there are we all aware about that renewable resources and non-renewable resources. So water is a kind of resource, that natural resource that is very important. And if we go through the water utilization or water use from very beginning of the civilization, from the prehistoric age, people remember, realize the role of water as a centralized source. That's why all the prehistory civilization, like Indus civilization, like Mesopotamian civilization, Chinese civilization, all are developed beside some river, and because they realize the role of water for their existence. And water is very precious. Water is very abundant resource in our universe. We all aware that we have huge amount of water resource, but there is very little amount of usable water, and we continuously use this resource, overuse this resource, exploit this resource, misuse this water resource, and mm, pollute this water resource. And up from the beginning of the civilization till now, we after continuing this resource depletion, we now we facing a threat for our survival, for our existence. And we all aware about that a huge amount of people, they lacking in access the great access the safe water. Around 70% of the surface water, 70% of the earth covered by water, but we are lacking the we are uh, around 771 million people are not have not the access to safe water. So it's because we are destroying the water resources. We are exploiting the water, we're overusing the water resources. And we all aware about that water present as water vapor in river and lake, water vapor in air, normal water in river, lake, and pond, water in glaciers, water in sea. But there are around 70% water, 75% water is sea water or saline water. Actually, these water, though ecologically it's have a great significance, but yeah, if we go through our civilization, our human civilization, then this sea water apparently that sea water have no such role, not such role in case of as a part of drinking water. Uh, so if we ignore that sea water, that is around total around seven total water, 97% water is sea water. Then 2% water as present as ice cap in our glaciers and our mountains and polar region. So only 1% water is our usable water, and this is very vital. Only 1%, and that 1% we use for our irrigation, use for our industrialization, use for energy generation, use for our use for our daily use, our every work. We go through this only with this 1% fresh water. So this is the that water is very crucial to us. The role of that water is very crucial. Only 1% of total water, and that 1% includes the groundwater, includes the surface water, includes the um, capillary water. So all water includes, and this is a distribution of the fresh water and global water. That is ocean water, glaciers water, ice water, yes, ice and snow water, is the distribution of the water. And uh, in everywhere, in every activity, we can't do without water. So water is very precious to us, and a very precious gift from God, gift to us from the nature. And if we go through that, a huge percent of world population, that they are have some freshwater resource, large freshwater resource, or some have less freshwater resources. In If we go through the global population and water resource, in case of Asia, only 36% we have the water resources, but we have population more than 60.65%. So to meet that requirement of 60% people, from 36% water is very very tough. So if we continuously being if we going to pollute our water or misuse our this water resources, one day will come that there may be some water war, or there may be some world war due to this water crisis. It's because we are nowadays we're living in Asia or in Indian region, that it's a large part of India, specifically the Uttar Pradesh and Delhi, Rajasthan, facing a serious water crisis during the summer season. And definitely disturb the our hydrological cycle. We all aware about that hydrological cycle, and we also all aware about that our water pollution scenario in sea water, surface water, or drinking water. As because one drop of wastewater enters into our drinking water or drinking water storage, then it definitely pollute total drinking water. So in this way also, mixing of the wastewater or mixing of the drainage water with drinking water or with some fresh water also increase the pollution rate and increase the water depletion, freshwater depletion. And some in some countries
Sir,
of Middle East. Hello. Hello.
Sir, are you changing your slides, sir?
Yes.
Sir, it is not changing. Can you please go to the slideshow mode?
Changing? No.
No, sir. Now changing, sir. Now changing the slide, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
So this is the distribution as I am discussed earlier. This is the total water scenario, and the that is the continent have the freshwater resource and water resource and the population of that continent, and this is the Asia, Africa, Europe. And if we go through this chart, that we have a huge lacking in freshwater resource, fresh water resources, not only freshwater. Around 60% we have the population, but only 36% our water resources with in Asiatic region. And this is a scenario of environmental pollution that degrade the environmental water resources. We all aware about that. That if we mix only one drop of wastewater or drainage water to freshwater resources like our lake, our pond, or our river, then it definitely pollute the total river, or make some significant effect on the river ecosystem, and make it fresh water to pollute water. And in this way also we degrade the water resources, usable water resources. And in case of some countries in Middle East, where water crisis is very severe, and but they are economically very sound. So one day will come that there is one world war maybe may start, or may raise due to this water pollution or water crisis scenario of the world. And there are we know that different river, that is basically transferring to one country to another country. And the distribution of the water, of that fresh water of different river, there are a huge treaty, but there are a huge conflict. If you go through the worldwide, there are almost a few hundred treaties are there for the distribution of the fresh water. Who will get more, who will get lost, less, and something like that. And every country that also we have some river who we passing through the international border or other countries, and we have also some water treaty in between different countries. And like us, China have the treaty, other all over world, more than 287 or something like that. There are water conflicts are going on throughout the international way. On the other hand, nationally within the country, we have also water conflict with the different states. We all aware about that, and this is nothing but to proper supply, or proper management of demand and supply. Such type of conflicts are going on. And we know that we have too much of water resource in our earth, but a little bit usable water. And there are that usable water, we also make this quality of that water is poor by using our activity, anthropogenic activity, or other some activity. And that's why the nature of surface runoff, nature of other runoff, which the main sources of river water or lake water, that is also changed day by day. It will change the color or the component of the surface water, and because the surface, our soil also polluted. If we compare 50 years back today with 50 years or 60 years back, then that time the soil components, and now the components of the soil different, because we use huge amount of pesticides, a huge amount of fertilizer, huge amount of organic substances during our different practices, agricultural practices, and that was out to the river. And another one thing is that deforestation. Or if deforestation is big problem, that's why the surface runoff contain huge amount of soil, because there is less plant, then the subsurface or upper surface of the soil day by day get some there is no tighten with as because plant or trees make soil some tightening, they catch the soil. But if instead of plant or forest, then the upper surface of soil wash out during the runoff and enters into our river or lake, and definitely it will pollute the river water as well as make some pollute problem in soil quality, because uppermost layer of the soil when wash out, then soil also polluted and less fertile. And this is the scenario. This is in 2040 or 40 onwards. Water resource is very limited to some parts around. There are some countries, there are 40 to 80% water resource. They are lacking around 40 to 80% water resource in some countries. Some countries 10%, 10 to 20%. So one day will come, every country or every region of the world have to face the water crisis if we take some steps regarding the management of water, or management of pollution, or treatment of wastewater. This is the growing water conflicts throughout the world, as I have discussed earlier, that there are so many problems in between the different countries throughout the world. And another is this is the another person who is one environmentalist of Rajasthan, that is called Waterman, Dr. Rajendra Singh, mm, who got Maxai Award 2001 for the conservation of the water. And he gives some insights regarding making water conservation throughout the Rajasthan and other arid, other drought region where rainfall is very less, or some evaporation is very high. So that's why he got award. Uh, and if we go through the facts, there are huge people now lacking that I have discussed earlier. And 54% of the Indian people also express feel extremely high water stressed nowadays, in mainly in the summer. And if you go through our district, or if you go through our state, or some parts of India, it is clearly visible that how much water crisis is there. If you go in case of West Bengal, if you go to Bankura, Purulia, or some parts of Bankura, Purulia, we feel that water crisis. Or if you go to some industrial part of the West Bengal, or industrial part of the India, then they also, we can go through the how water is polluted by using the industrial activity. Actually, that industrial activity to meet our needs, they are supplying our requirements. So we can't stop that industrial activity. If we call that thermal power plant produce huge amount of cyanide or ammonia, or other things. And we stop the thermal power plant and use other sources of energy. This is not possible practically, as because if you go through the electricity production ratio of the our country, around 50% electricity comes from the thermal power plant. So we can't stop the thermal power plant to manage the water pollution. If we go do this, then we are suffering electricity crisis, and our civilization also going to stop due to less amount of electricity. So we are not able to stop this industrial activity. This is nothing but one example. So we have to think something alternative, or we have to make proper treatment or water management issues, that we can use that water resource, we can pollute that water resource, and again we can treat this water resource and then reuse. That is the we all aware about that 3R or 5R or 7R concepts. Mm. So this is some pictorial view of the groundwater crisis in India, especially in Rajasthan, some parts of the Rajasthan. This is the scenario. Some parts of the Chennai. So in case of West Bengal, there are some red mark districts are suffering the water pollution. or water crisis. This is basically I am from Hooghly district. My college from Hooghly district. This is the our district scenario, and recently we passed through the that in March, that is World Water Day. That is there is one another important thing is that glaciers preservation. Glaciers, we all know that the one of the good resource of fresh water, good source of freshwater resources. We know that all river water or some lake water or some fresh water comes from that glacier. So if we this glacier nowadays, these glaciers are melting more faster. So if we have not take some step regarding the glacier melting, then one day will this resource also degrade, and then we also lose another freshwater resource. We know that we have the groundwater resource, but it is not adequate enough. If we not preserve these glaciers or the such type of resources, then one day will come that we definitely face the water crisis. So from now onwards, we have to we have to think for the glaciers, how we can reduce the melting of the glaciers, and because we know we all aware about the global warming or greenhouse effects. For that, the our ice are melting, and sea level and river water level are day by day rising. So we have to reduce the glaciers melting by taking some necessary steps, that will by finding out what is the main reason behind the glaciers melting or glaciers reverse movement. And we have to preserve our glaciers, main glaciers, for our proper for our civilization, for our existence. There are some key features of the glaciers, because of the uh, glaciers are sometimes also polluted, as because of different types of catastrophic activities, as well as they are melting due to global warming. They are diverted, and so preservation and survival strategy also required. That is nothing but to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, to reduce the melting of the ice from the glaciers. And we are aware that this is now I'm not discussing about that there are huge water pollution, and to manage the water, we have to reduce first we have to reduce the pollution. We all aware about that. There are two threats for the water resources. One is that excess use, overuse, or depletion, or depletion of the water resource. Another on the other hand is the water pollution. So water resource is precious. We are huge, we are overuse, we are misuse, and we are exploit these resources. It is on the other hand, we also pollute these resources. That's why from these two types of action, then we are that water resource we are facing a huge crisis of water resource, fresh water resource or safe water resource. Because there are so many water, we have huge amount of water, but maximum water go through the drains, maximum water go through the runoff. We are not able to catch that fresh water or safe water for our use. So to do this, we have to reduce the water pollution. On the other hand, we have to reduce the water excess water use, and we have to treat the polluted water, and then available this treated water for our use. And it will definitely have we are capable to face this water crisis. Otherwise we are not able to face. So we have to make some proper water management strategy for the sustainable, and because we also aware about the sustainable development goal that in 2015, there is that one promise is that we have to manage water and sanitation by 2030. We all aware about that. So we have to manage the water pollution, we have to conserve the water pollution, and we have to reduce the misuse of the water. So for water management, we can building the big dams, we can store the rainwater. We can, by using this from big dam, we can produce some electricity. That on the other hand reduce the use of some coal or other electrical energy. And we we desaline our water. We make some we if we preserve our wetlands or preserve our water sheds in our agriculture area or in our rural area, then it will also another the decentralized sources of water. So that can also the part of the water management. And we can also conserve the water in our domestic use. We all aware about that the water is very precious, but we use our groundwater around in case of our West Bengal, in case of some parts of India, we are commonly use our groundwater for our bathroom, for our washing and cleaning material. We are not conscious enough regarding that the use of water. We all aware about that water is very precious, but when we washing our car or washing the pavement, we try to use that a pipeline from tap water and wash the car. It's because we are ignored that the role, because we in where water is very much available, with that we just switch on the pump and get water. Then we are fortunate enough and we use day by day lose that water. There are if you go some public toilets, public urinal or public public sanitation area, you go that a huge amount of taps are open, and that water comes from groundwater, basically from the groundwater. In case of some cities or some part of the India, they using the rainwater or other sources of water. But if you go some local railway stations, they are not using the rainwater, they're using the groundwater. And if you go to local bus stands, if you go to local marketplaces, they are totally ignorant about the water. And in case of our house also, there are there are so many taps. Sometimes it is broken, sometimes there may be some leaking of water. And we have to manage these things. That is, we have to use some modern sustainable fittings that can reduce the water use. We during the gardening or during the watering to the plant, we can use different sustainable practices, the different sustainable irrigation processes that reduce the water use and also reduce the water pollution. And in case of water in case of agricultural area, we can reduce around 40 to 60% water use by using drip irrigation, sprinkler, or other irrigation practices. That easily you can reduce the water around 40%. Not a matter of joke. That is drip irrigation, because we all aware about that we are the agricultural dependent country. So we have to think about that water conservation in agricultural field. uh, in case of water conservation municipality, there are grey water using, grey water recycling, education about the water habits, awareness generation during the pupil, water saving appliances, leak repairs, other things are required to reduce the municipal water loss or our the water loss. And the main challenge is the secure water or other activity to the people to manage the water pollution or conserve the water. And there is some improved designing system, reusing the treated water, industrial and municipal water. So there is need some proper treatment processes, and elimination of the some other parts, sludge or batch from the wastewater, from the waste. And if we go through the wastewater treatment processes nowadays, uh, we have we have a mm, I think remarkable change in the wastewater treatment pattern. But I don't know. We are failure to use all types of such type of remarkable techniques in field. Sometimes in other part of the world, they are desalining water. They are using wastewater treatment process. It's because we all aware that there are four types. That is preliminary treatment, then primary, then secondary, then tertiary, or we can call it the physical treatment, chemical treatment, and biological treatment of the wastewater. When water comes from the industry, we go through these treatment processes. But when we use some chemical treatment method to reduce particular COD load or other chemical load from the wastewater, then definitely reduce that target pollutant, target chemical, but also produce some secondary intermediate product that is very less in amount but high. This is very more toxic than primary one, or most hazardous than primary one. So we have to take some another method to reduce that secondary intermediate of chemical treatment or secondary treatment. So if we make some modification in our treatment practices, if we make some modification in our treatment practices, use some modern techniques of wastewater treatment, for that our advanced oxidation processes, by using the photo oxidations, by using the phentons oxidations, or using different advanced oxidation processes in combination with different combination of the different wastewater treatment processes. For example, in case of petrochemical industry or thermal power plant, huge amount of coal, huge amount of cyanide, ammonia, or ammonium, or thiocyanate or phenol is there. So if we use some UV treatment or combination UV and hydrogen peroxide, or hydrogen peroxide and ferrous sulfate, that is Fe2 plus, that is a Fenton's reagent, it definitely degrade the phenol or cyanide or ammonium, or partially modify the structure that is easily degradable. Otherwise, phenol is non-biodegradable, cyanide is non-biodegradable, thiocyanate is non-biodegradable. But when we use this hydrogen peroxide and Fe2 plus, or in combination of hydrogen peroxide and Fe2 plus, it definitely degrade degrade or modify the structure of the phenol or cyanide, that can easily use for the biological treatment, and biological treatment easily degrade this pollutant, and it will produce no end product or zero end product. That is, we know that in case of advanced oxidation processes, it's only that highly reactive or hydroxyl radical degrade the other things and produce only carbon dioxide and water. So it is definitely effective. And which combination is effective for which industry or which type of wastewater, this is a trial and a error method. So such type of research also required, more and more research also required, that we can easily use this hydrogen peroxide or these AOPs as a pre-treatment option for the biological treatment. That because if we partially modify it or make it biodegradable phenol, modify the structure of the phenol, then it is easily degraded by the biological reactor, that is sequential batch reactor, or in activated sludge processes. So it is in modern scenario, we have to think something new, some new technology to reduce the water pollution load. And there are another process is that integrated water resource management process is there. That is the integration of the different method to maximize the reduce maximize the if maximize its effect and reduce the load, and we can use it in an equitable manner. And this is a process of integrated water resource management. This is our integrated resource management process, and this is different dimension. That is the economic efficiency of the water use, social or equitable water use, environmental and ecological sustainability of the water. There are some things there. So we can use, and we integrate the three E's. That is called three E in case of our water resource management. That is economic equity, environmental and ecological sustainability. So this is end of my lecture. And this one quote is for everyone, that be like a hummingbird. If we go think for that, who will do the things, then it will matter of discussion, matter of thinking, matter of other things. And by the way, during this time, we polluted another huge amount of water. But if we think that whatever I can do that I can do. If I reduce the pollution load or reduce the water use 1 ml, then that is for me, this is my capability. If every person of India think that every day they will reduce the water use 1 ml, then how many mls of water, how many liters of water we can conserve in a day. So we have to think that what I am able to do, that I will do. I will show our and hearty effort to reduce the water loss, to conserve the water, and then we one day will come that we can face that threat, and we can overcome the threat of water resource degradation, and we can go through our normal lifestyle. Thank you. Thanks for presence hearing.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful session. So, are there any questions from the participants?